Okay, so we're back to work a little bit more on this particular Kincaid drawing, and so you can see we have the grass here filled in, we have the walkway, we filled in the horses, the crepe myrtle, the green trees behind the house, behind the cottage. We can fill all of this in green now. And then I thought what we would do is maybe work on this teal blue trim and maybe a little bit of the roof in here. I don't have this exact gray color, but I do have kind of a dark blue, and this has a little blue tint to it. So I thought around these edges I might go ahead and do this in this color blue and do my teal work here, and then possibly color all of this in green, because later I'll go back and put in these dark highlights that are darker than the green that we've been using for this. So I think what I'm going to do, I took these out. I was going to start with the roof and with the trim here, but I think I'm going to go ahead and color this huge block in that's green and get that done. And then the only green we'll have left is up here in the tree line. We'll be finished with all of the green except for going in and doing some highlighting and shading. So I'm gonna draw, I like to draw my little line. I like a little edge. Oh, I shouldn't have drawn that there, but I'll just go ahead and draw this all the way across for now. I'm going to go ahead and draw this down this way. Okay, and then I'm just going to color in here. I'm going to go back later and put in these highlights. Color this in here. All these little places that kind of give you some divisions and separations here. Let's see, I think is that green or white? Okay, so just coloring around here. Circle there. And these little places will be white later. All those will be little white flowers. I've really enjoyed working on this piece, coloring this with you. And I've really enjoyed working in this book that, like I've said several times, that one of my best friends gave me at work. She gave me hours and hours and hours of something that I just love to do. And you can see that to do each one of these, it probably takes about 5 hours or more to do each one of these drawings by the time you fill in all of the colors and the flowers and that kind of thing. I mean, it takes a good bit of time to do these. But time well spent. You know, I'm getting close to retirement, and I thought about retiring when I'm 65 to 67, somewhere in there, but technically I can actually retire next year. I'll be 62. So I can retire. But I lost some of my retirement. I lost about 10 years of my retirement in the teacher's retirement program that I've been in, and so I won't have a huge retirement, unfortunately. I will have Social Security, and then I will have a small amount coming from my teacher's retirement. So I've thought about possibly buying a little tiny home. I have a piece of property that my father left me, and so I've thought about taking the little bit of 401k that I have and buying one of the real pretty sort of 2-story metal buildings, and then having that redone into not a tiny home, but a little bit larger tiny home, probably about 800 square feet, and it's so pretty. And so I've thought about doing that. I live in a small ranch style house right now, and I guess it's probably about 1,500 square feet. And so I would still have to downsize a little bit, but that's okay. I've downsized before. I used to live in a really large house that my children's father and I built together, and we wound up, when we weren't going to be together anymore, later we wound up deciding that we would make things work out so that our middle son, would be able to purchase that house at a little bit lower amount than what we would have sold it to anyone else. And so I downsized at that point anyway. And that particular house that we worked out for our son to get, I mean, that house is family ready, for a larger family. And like the one we had when we raised them. So we raised our 3 children there, and half the neighborhood of kids who came and spent time with our kids, and all of them. Mary had girlfriends that came and stayed with us there, and the boys had guy friends that came and stayed. So I mean, it was nothing sometimes for us to have 13, 14, 15 kids out on the property, riding 4-wheelers and going and swimming in the river and building forts. And we had a pool. We had a nice in-ground pool, and the boys didn't swim as much as the girls that came out would swim some with Mary. The boys were always off roaming. You know how boys are. They're gone at that age. They're not staying at home where you are. And so they were usually the ones out on the 4-wheelers and at the river and that kind of thing, where the girls were usually at the house, and they would be swimming in the pool and playing with dolls and that kind of thing. And so when my children were grown and I wound up moving out of that house, then I wound up downsizing to about half of what I was used to there. And so it looks like I'll be downsizing again to about half of what I'm used to here, which is okay. When you downsize, it's so much easier to take care of everything. It doesn't cost nearly as much for upkeep. It doesn't cost nearly as much for any and everything that you do, electricity, all of it, gets cut pretty much in half. So, and if I do this way, then there's a possibility that I could wind up going into retirement without any kind of a house payment. And so that's really pretty much what I'm looking at. Can I get into retirement and not have a house payment hanging over my head every month? Now, I don't have a huge house payment here, but for retirement money, for retirement pay, even the house payment I have here, which, guys, I have such a good interest. My interest rate on this house is only like 2.75, I think. But anyway, even with the lower house payment that I have here, having no house payment at all is my desired goal. And then what I'm thinking I could do is put up 2 tiny homes out there and possibly have a little extra income there coming in. So keep me in your thoughts and prayers as I'm trying to work these retirement things out so that I can retire. And you know, I won't be living wealthy by any means, but just retire comfortably where I can make ends meet and do what I need to do until I see my son again. And then I might do all this and get this transition made, and I still may work until I'm 60, 65, 67, while having already downsized and no payments. And what a retirement that would be, to be able to save almost my entire check, you know, while I'm without a house payment, without a car payment. And well, that would be something else right there. So here we are getting all of this filled in. And of course I'm going to go back. You can see where you have like the darker greens in here. I'm going to go back and take my darker green and just kind of fill in all these places where it should be a little bit darker. In fact, we might have, once I get this finished, we may have just one session where we're going in and shading everything, putting in those darker colors. For any of you who have retired or are retiring, or any of you who have built a tiny home or a bigger tiny home, you know, if you want to put some helpful tips in the comments section, I would certainly appreciate that. I can use all the help that I can get, to be honest. But I even kind of like that idea that I just came up with of, you know, getting all of this taken care of and then just still work. I love working. I love what I do. And you know, the only drawback for working for me, really, for the past few years has been the loss of my son. And but I will tell you, my students, they are so wonderful. They keep me busy. They're really kind. I think we talked about this before, that they do their humanitarian projects, and these are high school kids. They're what's called Move On When Ready, and they get into these humanitarian projects, and they do some of the best work. They have the biggest hearts. They want to help people, and they'll take their time and effort and do that. I mean, they are brave warriors and smart, and they do such wonderful research. And then my students who are adults, who aren't Move On When Ready students, they're just, they're adults. They're the same way. They love these humanitarian projects. I mean, when the rough gets going, the tough do too. And I think I said that wrong, but I mean, they are phenomenal with these things. And so we get in there talking about all these humanitarian issues, and we just don't want to go when we get started. We want to keep having class and talking about the issues. Okay, so we got that filled in. And so now I think, because I'm going to work on this later, that I've got some things to figure out up here before I get started with that. And so what I want to do now is, you can see all of this teal blue trim around the windows, on the bench here. I think I want to go ahead and take care of that. And so I pulled out this beautiful turquoise G45. See, G45, that's this one. So I pulled out this beautiful turquoise. And so I'm just gonna go here around the windows. Ooh, that's so pretty. This here. That is just beautiful. Like I say, if I could show you the sparkles on this page and the way it's picking it, like, you would just not believe it. So magical looking. I think my daughter from Mary E. Maid, I think she is going to try to do a video and post it. I don't know how she does it, but some video and post it so that you can see all of the sparkles in this book, because it is truly amazing. I said before that I think the reason that these may sparkle like they do may have to do with, maybe these pens are like metallic colors with sparkles, because the sparkles sparkle and the actual color sparkles. Okay, so let me color this. Is also that color. He uses this color a lot with his window treatments. This sort of teal bluish green. Gosh, this might be the color I put on my little cottage out in the country. I'm thinking about putting some other tiny homes out there, and my brother's name was Ashley, so I'm thinking about putting some little tiny homes out there and then renting those, and maybe to senior citizens, and calling it Ashley Estates after my baby brother. I think that might be what I do. Put some kind of nice, big, beautiful stone fence up with a beautiful sign, and have his name done in beautiful writing, like a, I guess you would call it like a calligraphy. The hurt of that never goes away. You know, there are times when you don't think about it every second of the day. You'd never be able to get through your life if you did that. Of course, you do that at first, but you would never be able to get through your life if you thought about these things that hurt you every second of the day. But I would love to have that property named after him. I could even name it Daniel Ashley Estates. He loved Daniel so much. You know, like I said, my baby brother, my middle brother and I were so much older than he was. And so by the time he was 9 years old, he had been Uncle Ashley to Daniel for about 5 years. I think Daniel was 4 when Ashley passed away. And Daniel never liked to talk about Ashley after that. It was so sad because just before Ashley passed away, Daniel and my baby son, they came to me and they were worried about children dying. And, you know, I didn't think about what I was telling them at that time. And I told them, told them not to worry about things like that. I said, babies, I said, why are you asking me this? I was like, children, you know, they live a long time and children don't die. And it was not 2 weeks later that Ashley was killed in an automobile accident. And let me tell you, trying to explain to them the reasons, or the reason that I told them that children didn't die, but Ashley did die, was just beyond painful, beyond trying to retell something to them that I had already told them didn't happen. And I don't think Josh remembers a lot of it. Josh was only about 2 years old when it happened. But Daniel never would talk about it. Daniel was heartbroken over it. And Josh was heartbroken over it too. But I don't think he remembered a lot about it. But Daniel remembered everything about it. And he never did want to talk about it. He never really talked about Ashley very much after that because it hurt him so much. And we were all in so much pain, the adults were, that we weren't, I guess, really noticing that Daniel wasn't really talking about it very much or addressing it. And so he was in a lot of pain over losing Ashley, because one of the things that he asked me that just broke my heart, he says, what are we going to do without our boy? And I mean, what do you say? What do you say to that? Of course, we had to keep reassuring him that Ashley was with God. And I had to apologize that I had told them. I didn't mean to tell them something untrue, but I literally had to apologize to them and keep apologizing to them because I had told them something that wasn't true. I told my sons that children don't die, just to assure them in a moment, and then 2 weeks later, Ashley dies. It was horrific. So I could name that property Daniel Ashley Estates. It's not a big property. It's only about 10 acres. I have 10. My mother has 12. And then my middle brother has 11. I think he has 11 acres. And I don't know if we would name it all Ashley Estates or if we would just name a portion of it Ashley Estates. I don't know if they want to name their part that. I'm sure they would not object to that. Some of this can be a little tricky, so I don't want to color too much. Okay, this is by that window. This is under that, and it's a little dark. Okay, you can see the shape of the roof and the house taking shape here. I think I'm gonna color this. I don't know if I want to put a lighter blue with this. I could do that with that G27. G27, or I could, let's see, this is a G39, so I could actually do something like this, because I need a little contrast here. So I'm going to outline this in a little bit darker color. Yeah, I think that's what I want to do. I think that's going to be better. I don't really have a gray blue here, and so like I said, I will find like gradations in something, and then I'll try to get two colors that I can get the same gradation, even though I can't get the same exact color. And sometimes that can work out nicely too. sort of, so that's what I'll do. I'll work with these two colors. That looks pretty nice. And then what I can do, see how this is lighter in here. It's dark, but it's lighter than these lines right here. And so now I can take this color and just kind of fill in here with this sort of lighter color. And this looks like it pretty much goes all the way up. So I'm just going to go all the way up with this blue. We are making such progress here. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Just color this or fill this in all the way down. Okay, so this is looking nice and dreamy here. All right, and then if you look at the shading here, you can see that this is darker. Okay, and then they go to a lighter color. So that's what I'm going to try here. I'm going to try to start here with this shading and go this way, and then about halfway down. Okay, because I'm going to work a lighter color in here. I don't know what that lighter color is going to be yet. It might even be that same blue that I have there in the sky. Okay, and then this goes probably from here up to about 3/4 of the way, and it cuts off here and then goes up to here. All right, so I'm going to try and fill all that in. And I'm just coloring in circles. I haven't colored these roofs blue yet. I usually use a gray. So, trial and error. I don't know exactly how this will look yet. But so far it's looking really pretty. knows, I might hang this in Ashley Estates. Make a big print of it. Okay, so that's looking lovely. All right, and then let's see what we have over here. Now this darker color probably is, let's see, we've got this green leaf, this green set of leaves, we've got this green set of leaves, and then I think that kind of cuts off right in here somewhere. Yeah, right in there somewhere. So that's where we'll cut off there. Do this and just start bringing that color down. I have a little, well, I don't know how little she is really, but I have a granddaughter. You know, she'll always be little to me, but she's 16 years old, and she won a beauty pageant today. She was the top girl. And then I have a great granddaughter, and she is about one year and 3 months, so about 16 months old. And she placed first runner-up in her beauty pageant. So super excited for them about that. Now my great-granddaughter's mother, she was always in beauty pageants, and I mean, she would walk away with all of the crowns every single beauty pageant she was in. They have been so hurt since their grandfather, not grandfather, since their dad passed away. It's one of the reasons I really want to retire, because you know, when you work and you don't have anyone helping you, you don't get to see your family. Not with the kind of work I do. I grade papers all of the time. I live an hour and a half away from my family, and so I don't get really to see anyone, and they don't get to see me. And so, you know, retirement or not, whether I retire or not, I'm just not sure if I will retire. But whether I retire or not, just being closer. Oh, I hope I didn't mess that up just then. But anyway, see if I can color this in and maybe work it in a little better. Yep, that might have been a mistake right there, but we'll see. See if I can do something with that. Well, that might wind up being a whiteout. But anyway, you know, living far away like that, I just don't get to see anybody. And, you know, with their father passing away and not getting to really see them and be a part of everyone, it's hard. It's hard for it to be that way. But a lot of that has to do with, you know, I don't have anyone taking care of me, and so I have to work, and I have to work a lot to be able to survive. And so I may white that out. I don't know. I'll have to see. I'll have to see how it goes. But I'm not going to stop here. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, and I'll figure that out later. We'll figure it out together. Okay, so there's that. And then I'm going to color this blue. And I might outline it there because, see, I'm not getting any kind of gradation there that I think is pretty much needed there. So there we go. That'll give me some gradation there. So I want to be closer to them. If I get closer to them, I can still have many, many years with my great-grandchildren. And who knows, one day I might see my great-great-grandchildren. My son didn't get to see the last two. Those were his grandchildren, and he didn't get to see the last two, but I'm hoping that he is getting to see every minute of what they do from heaven. So this is G25, and this is G39. And so I'm going to look here at this G. I need the G27 is, I think, what I would like to have here. Let's see if that's what this is. Yep, this is G27. So that's what color I'm going to color all of this. And it's a little bit lighter. It's not extremely lighter, but it's still lighter. I actually think that's really nice because you don't see much of the gradation there, which is always pretty nice. But yeah, maybe I can have my granddaughters and my great-grandchildren out, and my baby son. My brother and his son live on the property. My mother lives on the property. Maybe I'll get to see her more. Because I've been away for a long time, trying to, support myself and have income and do what I do. Who knows, I might build a park on the property for them. Maybe that dark blue wasn't a mistake after all. It's looking really nice, actually. Color around this tree. These tree leaves. Yeah, so that's pretty. That's pretty. I could leave this white. I don't know. Could leave it white. Or I could color it. I think I'm gonna color it this lighter blue. Let's see, G52. I think that's this one. So I'll just color it this lighter blue. Yeah, that's pretty. Line it here. That's really nice looking. I love it. It actually looks kind of Christmassy with this blue. I don't know if you guys like a blue Christmas, but I like the blue lights and the blue decorations, and I love the pretty blue outdoor lights at Christmas. And one time I had a blue Christmas tree. Now, if you have and when I say blue Christmas tree, I mean the lights were blue. And if you have a blue Christmas tree and then you have white lights all around the outside, I mean, it is stunningly beautiful. I really think this is a win. I had my doubts about this roof, but I really like these color combinations, which I love a blue house. My son's house, when we did that house, we did a very light baby blue siding, vinyl siding, with a mid-gray roof, and oh my gosh, just stunningly beautiful. So I like a blue house. Although this, this house is not going to be blue, but with the house being blue, I mean the roof being blue, it's really pretty. Here we go. That's a beautiful roof, if I must say so myself. Okay, so we have now filled in all of the green and the grass here, which we'll go back and do these darker gradations that you see in here. And then we have completed the roof. We did all of the teal blue trim around the outdoor seating and the trim around the house. And so we're making a lot of headway here. And so when we come back, we will work on filling in the beige colors, the light and dark beiges, and some tangerines in some cases into the stonework. And then we'll try to, in one sitting, finish filling in the green in here and the lighter greens represented by the light source in here. And maybe do some shading, or we may save all of the shading for a separate coloring time. All right, so thank you for coloring with me, and be blessed.